You must select the fairest woman, Marcus. It's my order. You must select the fairest woman. Cowboy. The judge ordered it, but the town fell silent when he chose the obese girl. The rooster had not even crowed. Rose's eyes snapped open. Rosalind. Her father's voice cut through the thin walls like thunder. Those ovens will not light themselves. She rolled off the cot, back already aching, feet freezing on the kitchen floor. By sunrise, 3 dozen loaves were rising, sweat on her neck, flour on her brown dress. Emma and Beth appeared like princesses walking down a staircase. Morning, Rosa, Emma chirped. Perfect hair. Perfect smile. Beth yawned. We will take the customers. You handle the heavy work. They floated to the counter. Rosa hauled 50-pound flour sacks like they weighed nothing. Her father stepped in. I scanned the bakery, skipped over. Rosa skipped over the perfect loaves. Instead, he lit up at Emma's smile. Such lovely daughters you have, a woman praised. Indeed, he said proudly. Rosa kept her head down, loaded the delivery cart alone. She was muscle. She was labor. She was the invisible backbone no one praised. But inside, she remembered. 3 years ago, she dreamed differently. She had been 20, but hopeful. The town held a seamstress competition. Rosa had worked in secret for weeks. Sketching late at night, sewing by candlelight. She made a dress from scraps. Delicate, careful, hers. On the day of the contest, she had walked in trembling. But proud. The hall went silent. Then the laughter started. A fat girl sewing dresses. For who? The circus. She cannot even fit in her own design. The judge did not laugh. He only looked at her with cold dismissal. Seamstressing requires grace and elegance. Perhaps try cooking instead. Rosa had run out, tears burning. Her cheeks. That night she burned her sketches. Every line, every dream turned to ash. She buried that part of herself so deep she told herself it never existed. Now flour replaced silk, dough replaced thread. And every morning as she sweated behind the ovens, her sister's laughter and her father's indifference reminded her the town would never let her forget what she was. Not beautiful, not talented, not worthy. Only Rosa, the bakery's burden. The sun was high. The bakery was hotter than ever. Rosa's arms ached, but she did not stop. The hotel order had to go out. 20 loaves, heavy as bricks, stacked high on the cart. Her sisters waved her off with painted smiles. We will watch the counter. Do not take too long, Rosa, her father added without looking at her. And try not to embarrass the family this time. The words sank deeper than the sweat dripping down her back. She heaved the cart through the streets. Each wheel clattered over stones. People stared, some whispered, some did not bother whispering. There she goes, built stronger than a mule, big as 2 women and twice the sweat. Rosa bit her lip and pulled harder. If she looked up, they would see the tears. At last, she reached the hotel steps. Relief washed over her. Just a few more pushes. She would be done. But then the wheel caught on the stone edge. The cart lurched. Loaves tumbled. Bread scattered like broken pride across the dusty ground. The crowd that had followed her steps erupted. Look at her. All that bulk and she cannot manage a cart. Ox strong but clumsy as a calf. Laughter rolled through the square. It stung sharper than the heat. Rosa dropped to her knees, scrambling for the bread. Her golden hair slipped from its tie, falling in her face. Flour smeared her cheeks like war paint. Her hands shook. The more she reached, the more people jeered. Children pointed. Women snickered. Men laughed loud enough for the whole street to hear. Her heart pounded. Why does it always have to be me? Why cannot I do one thing right? A shadow fell over her. A pair of boots. Strong hands lifted the fallen loaves with ease. Enough. The voice cut through the crowd like a whip. Steady. Unshaken. The laughter died. Rosa looked up. A tall cowboy stood there. Broad shoulders, sun-browned skin, shirt sleeves rolled tight over muscles built from hard work. His eyes scanned the crowd, sharp as a blade. "Show some decency," he said. No one answered. No one dared. One by one, the chuckles faded into silence. People shifted, embarrassed at being caught. The cowboy bent down, handed Rosa a loaf, and said softly, "You are not alone." Her throat tightened. She could not speak, not with the weight of so many eyes still pressing down on her. But for the first time in years, someone had stood between her and their cruelty. The loaves were gathered. The cart was steady. The crowd dispersed, muttering. The cowboy tipped his hat, gave her a quiet nod, and walked away. Rosa stayed frozen, heart racing, hands still trembling. She did not know his name. She did not know why he helped, but she would remember him because in a town where everyone laughed at her, he was the first voice. That said, enough. The bakery smelled of fresh rolls. Rosa's arms ached from kneading, but she did not complain. Emma and Beth strolled in late, hair pinned, lips painted. They never touched the ovens, never lifted a sack of flour. The bell above the door jingled. Emma burst in, waving a folded paper high in the air. "News from the courthouse," she squealed. Beth nearly dropped a tray of cookies. "What is it?" Emma smoothed the letter and read aloud. By order of Judge Harrison, every unmarried citizen must appear for the great matching. To strengthen the town, all unattached men and women will be paired in marriage. Beth gasped like she had won a prize. Emma twirled on her heel. Finally, our chance. Rosa froze. The dough slipped from her hands. Marriage. A public gathering. Every eye on her. Her stomach twisted like it held stones instead of bread. Her father wiped his hand on a rag and grunted. "Emma, you will dress well. Maybe you will catch someone worth having." Then his eyes flicked toward Rosa, dull and dismissive. "She goes too. Law is the law, though Lord knows it is a waste of time." The sisters snickered. Beth whispered, not even bothering to lower her voice. "Can you imagine who would pick her?" Emma smirked. "Maybe the butcher. He needs someone to carry hogs." Rosa's cheeks burned. She wanted to disappear into the oven's flames. But the decree was final. There was no choice. That night, she lay in bed, staring at the ceiling beams. The memory of the fabric competition returned, the laughter, the judges' cutting words. She could already hear the whispers that would follow her on matching day. Why is she even here? She is not a bride. She is a worker. She should stay hidden in the bakery. Her sisters chattered in the next room. Silks, ribbons, colors that would catch a cowboy's eye. Rosa turned on her side, clutching her pillow. She Wanted to believe maybe, just maybe, someone could see beyond her size. But another voice echoed louder, the one that always won. Do not dream. Do not hope. You will only burn again. The next morning, the bakery was alive with excitement. Emma and Beth talked only of dresses, hairstyles, and eligible men. Rosa carried flour sacks, swept floors, cleaned ovens. Every task a reminder of who she was in their eyes. Not a daughter to be proud of, not a woman to be chosen, just Rosa, the one meant to work. And now, forced by law, she would stand in the square beside her sisters. While the whole town watched, while they laughed, the bell over Miller's fabric shop jingled as Emma and Beth swept inside. They moved like they owned the place, heads high, voices loud. Silk. First, Emma declared, already tugging at bolts of shimmering fabric. Beth ran her hands over lace. This will make me look like an angel. Imagine the cowboys staring. The shop buzzed with women all chattering about the matching. Rosa slipped in behind them, trying to stay small. Her eyes did not go to the silks. Not the lace, just a soft roll of cotton near the back. Plain but comforting. Something she could imagine working with. Something honest. She reached for it. Not that one, dear. Mrs. Miller's hand swooped in, snatching the fabric away. Her smile was tight. Practiced. That cotton is far too simple. Let us get your measurements instead. Before Rosa could protest, the measuring tape whipped around her chest. It strained. Stopped. Mrs. Miller tugged, then clucked her tongue loudly enough for every woman in the room to hear. We will need a special order. The words floated in the air. A snicker came from the corner, then another. Nothing here will accommodate your proportions. Laughter rippled through the shop. Rosa's cheeks burned. Her arms twitched to cover herself, but the tape was still stretched across her. Emma smirked, pretending to be embarrassed on her sister's behalf. Beth turned away, hiding a grin. Rosa forced her voice to work. That is fine. I do not need nonsense, Mrs. Miller interrupted. Every girl needs a proper dress for the matching, but yours will take extra fabric, extra time, and extra coin. The giggles grew louder. Rosa felt the floor tilt beneath her. Every eye was on her. Not her sisters, not the other girls swirling silk against their skin. The fat girl. The odd one out. The one who did not belong. Her hands curled into fists at her sides. She wanted to vanish, but she could not. Not here. Not under the law. Emma lifted a shimmering pink bolt. This one, Father will pay for. Me. Beth held lace to her cheek. And this for me. Mrs. Miller gushed over them, fussing and flattering. The room hummed with approval. Rosa slipped back, wishing she could melt into the shelves. She did not want silk or lace. She did not even want the cotton anymore. All she wanted was the door. When the sisters strutted out, arms full of fabric, Rosa trailed behind empty-handed. Her cheeks still burned, the laughter still echoed. And in her chest that old wound opened wider, reminding her she had never belonged on a stage. Not then, not now, not ever. The morning of the matching arrived. Emma twirled before the mirror, smoothing her silk dress. Beth fussed with lace ribbons in her hair. The whole house smelled of perfume and powder. But in the kitchen, Rosa stood at the sink, scrubbing pans. Her father leaned in the doorway, arms crossed. You finish the morning bake before you go, he said flatly. Nobody is choosing you anyway, so there is no rush. Rosa froze, spun still in her hand. Emma laughed lightly. He is right, Rosa. Just do not be late enough to embarrass us, Beth added. Maybe stand at the back when we line up. Save us the shame. Their giggles floated down the hall. Rosa kept scrubbing, though her chest felt like it might split open. By the time she loaded the ovens, her sisters were already out the door. Faces glowing, dresses swishing, their excitement filling the morning air. She worked faster, hands raw, arms aching, sweat sticking flour to her skin. Finally, the last pan was done. She untied her apron, hurried to her room, and pulled on the simple yellow dress she had managed to piece together after the humiliation at Miller's shop. It was plain, too plain, but it was all she had. Her golden hair, usually tied tight for bakery work, tumbled loose as she rushed. She did not even have time to pin it properly. She ran through the square, past the shops, her breath shallow. When she arrived, the crowd was already gathered. She was last. Every head turned as she stumbled in, cheeks flushed, skirts still dusted with flour from the kitchen. Whispers rippled through the square. Why did she even bother? Someone should tell her to go home. She looks like she came straight from the oven. The word stung, sharper than the morning sun. Emma and Beth stood proudly in the front row, glowing in silk and lace. Their eyes flicked toward Rosa, then quickly away, pretending she was not their sister. Rosa lowered her gaze, fighting the shame burning her throat. She tucked herself at the far edge of the line as small as she could make her body, but she could not escape the whispers. They followed her like shadows. And as the judge stepped onto the platform, his booming voice calling the town to order, Rosa wished more than anything that she could disappear before the choosing began. The square grew still. A low rumble of hooves echoed down the dusty road. Heads turned. A line of cowboys rode in. Sunburned faces, weathered hands, boots coated in trail dust. Each one searching not just for land but for wives. The crowd leaned forward, whispers mixing with nervous laughter. Rosa's heart thudded among them. She saw him, the tall cowboy, broad shoulders, sun at his back. The same man who had lifted bread loaves from the dirt while the crowd mocked her. Marcus, he was not scanning the women like the others. His eye stayed steady, quite watchful. The judge stepped onto the platform, raising a hand for silence. Men, he thundered. You have come to settle here, but no man settles alone. This town grows by families, not wanderers. Choose your brides. Build homes. Build futures. A cheer rose from the townsfolk. Girls in silks and lace straightened their backs, ready to be picked. The first cowboy dismounted. He chose quickly. A tall blonde in white silk stepped forward, smiling like she had been waiting all her life. Another cowboy pointed. Beth squealed, flinging her arms around his neck. The crowd clapped. Emma followed soon after, taken by a man with a red kerchief and a swagger in his walk. Names were called, hands clasped. Girls left the line one by one, linked to men they barely knew. Rosa stood at the far edge, head lowered, flour dust still clinging to her skirt. Her sisters did not look at her. They laughed with their chosen cowboys, faces glowing with pride. One by one, the prettiest girls disappeared from the row. The line grew shorter. Rosa's chest tightened until only 3 women remained. A thin red head twisting her gloves. A pale, timid girl staring at her shoes. And Rosa, her blue dress wrinkled, her golden hair loose from rushing. Her body heavy, shoulders rounded under the weight of every cruel whisper around her. The crowd buzzed louder now. No one is left for her. Watch. She will be standing alone when the sun sets. She should have stayed in the kitchen. Rosa clenched her hands, nails digging into her palms. Shame burned her skin. Then silence spread as Marcus stepped forward. The tall cowboy, the one who had not chosen, the one who had not even glanced at the pretty silk dresses. His boots hit the dirt with a heavy thud. And for the first time since she entered the square, Rosa felt his eyes find her, not passing over her, not mocking her, looking at her. Her breath caught. The crowd waited, tense, buzzing with disbelief. And Rosa felt something she had not felt in years. Hope flickering like a candle. In the dark, Marcus stood still. Every cowboy had already chosen. Laughter, clapping, cheers filled the square, but he had not moved. The judge's eyes narrowed. You there, step forward. Marcus walked slowly, boots heavy in the dust. Your turn, Judge Harrison barked. Choose your bride. Marcus's jaw tightened. His voice came out low. Judge, I did not come here for a wife. I came for work. A ripple spread through the crowd. Whispers. Gasps. The judge's face hardened. No man lives alone in this town. Family brings order. A roof. Without a woman is no roof at all. That is the law. What the crowd did not know, Marcus had only arrived weeks earlier. In his old town, no such rule existed. He had lived freely, though never lightly. He had once loved a woman with his whole heart, only to lose her to sickness in a single cruel winter. Since then he buried himself in labor, not laughter. His body grew stronger, but inside he carried scars no one could see. To him, choosing a wife was not a duty. It was reopening a wound he had never let heal. His hand flexed at his side. He glanced at the line of women left. The red head trembling, the pale girl staring at the ground, and Rosa, her blue dress clung awkwardly. Her golden hair slipped from its pins. Flour still dusted her skirt from the bakery. She stood stiff, waiting for the humiliation she knew was coming. The crowd pressed closer, eager for the spectacle. He will not take her. He would sooner leave town. She will be the last one standing. Marcus let out a long breath. His voice was calm but firm. Then I have got no choice. His eyes locked on Rosa. I choose her. The square exploded. Shouts, disbelief. Cruel laughter. What? With her? He is mad. Emma's hand flew to her mouth. Beth gasped so loudly it carried across the square. Their sister, the one they mocked daily, the one they told to hide, was being chosen. And not by just any man, by the strongest, handsomest cowboy in the lineup. Rosa froze. Her heart slammed so hard she thought she might faint. She searched his face for a joke, a trick, some sign. He was mocking her like everyone else. But Marcus's eyes did not waver. Steady. Certain. At the edge of the crowd, Rosa's father staggered back as if struck. His face burned red with panic. What her? He barked. His voice cracked with fury. Who will lift the sacks? Who will keep the ovens running? My bakery cannot stand a day without her. He had never imagined Rosa would be picked. Not once. She was his labor, his extra pair of hands. And now gone. His shock was louder than the crowd's disbelief. The judge raised his hand. It settled then. Marcus of Red Rock claims Rosa as his bride. The crowd jeered. Some others laughed until their sides hurt. But Marcus did not flinch. He walked across the square, every step deliberate. When he reached her, he held out his hand. Rosa's throat tightened. She stared at it, unable to move. "Come on," he said softly. His voice was not mocking. It was not pity either. It was steady, like he meant it. Her fingers trembled as she placed her hand in his. The world seemed to roar around them. But for the first time in her life, Rosa felt something cut through all the noise. Not shame, not fear, a spark. The wagon rolled up the dirt path to Marcus' ranch. It was not much. A small house, a leaning barn, a few cattle in the field, no grand estate, no waiting servants, just hard work. Rosa stepped down, her blue dress catching on the wagon's edge. She tugged it free, cheeks burning. She knew the townsfolk imagined her stumbling. Here, useless. She would not give them the satisfaction. Marcus unloaded the sacks himself. Strong, quiet, not a word wasted. He did not push her aside, did not laugh at her clumsy movements. He just worked, steady and calm. Inside, the house was plain. A table, 2 chairs, a wood stove. Rosa's heart sank. She had left the bakery where she at least had purpose. Now, what was she here? She swallowed her fear. "I will cook," she offered. Marcus nodded. "If you like." No commands, no mocking tone, just respect. That startled her. Days passed. Rosa scrubbed, mended, fed animals. Her body was used to labor. She carried heavy buckets, stacked firewood, cleaned until her hands ached. Yet a different weight pressed harder. The silence. At night, Marcus sat on the porch, staring at the horizon. He barely spoke. Rosa wondered if he regretted choosing her. One evening, she slipped behind the barn. The dirt was soft there, easy to draw in. Her fingers moved before she thought. Lines, curves, shapes, patterns she remembered from her old sketches. Dresses with wide hems, delicate sleeves, tiny details only her heart knew how to shape. She leaned back, breathing fast. The ground was covered with her secret world. Rosa! She jumped. Marcus stood there, arms crossed. Loosely, not angry, just curious. Her face flushed. She dropped to her knees, wiping the dirt with frantic hands. "It is nothing, just nonsense." But he stepped closer. His shadow fell across the fading lines. "That did not look like nonsense," he said quietly. Her throat tightened. She shook her head. "I should not. It is foolish." Marcus did not press. He only crouched beside her, his voice lower. "Foolish or something you care about?" Rosa could not answer. Shame rushed through her, burning hotter than the sun on her skin. She smeared the last of the sketches away, hiding them, like she had years ago. Marcus watched, but said nothing more. Only a long silence stretched between them, heavy but not cruel. That night, Rosa lay awake in the small bed, tears stinging her eyes. Why had she let herself draw again? Why? And yet, a spark she thought had died flickered faintly inside her chest. The next day, Marcus noticed Rosa's hands moving across the table. Not kneading, not mending, drawing in the air. You do that often, he said from the doorway. Rosa startled. Do what? Draw without paper. She flushed. It is nothing. Marcus did not press, but he kept seeing it. Her eyes on swaying. Laundry, her hands folding cloth like silk. One night by the fire, she broke. I wanted to be a seamstress, she blurted, tears spilled. I loved fabric. Patterns, but they laughed. Said I was too fat, too clumsy. Even the judge told me to just cook. I burned everything that night. Her face crumpled. How can someone like me create beauty? Look at me, Marcus. I ruin it. The fire crackled. Marcus knelt beside her. Rosa, who told you those lies? She looked up. Startled. I saw your designs. They were not foolish. They were extraordinary. She shook her head. You do not mean that. I do. I have seen dresses across the plains. Yours were finer than many sold for fortunes. Do not let cruel tongues bury your gift. For the first time, someone saw her. Her tears came harder. But hope slipped through. You really think I could make something beautiful? Marcus held her gaze. I do not think I. No. That night, Rosa lay awake, clutching a tiny ember of hope. A dream. She thought dead stirred again because one man finally believed. Life on the ranch found its rhythm. Marcus worked the cattle. Rosa kept the home fresh. Curtains, flowers in jars, bread baked for comfort, not just hunger. At first, they moved like strangers sharing space. Then walls fell. Her rare laugh warmed the house. He carried the heavy loads but never treated her as weak. One rainy night, firelight flickered. Rosa brushed her golden hair loose. Marcus looked up from his knife, caught by her profile. She flushed. I must look foolish. No, he said softly. You look like you. Silence swelled. Fragile, growing. Rosa stopped hiding her sketches. He gave no false praise. Only steady truth. She stopped flinching at his touch. Their closeness grew like embers catching fire. Then trouble came. A wagon rolled in through dust. Her father. Rosa. He barked. Pack your things. The bakery is failing. Your sisters will not work. Her heart sank. He never came for love, only labor. His eyes cut to Marcus. And you, cowboy, take this money and leave my daughter. Coins hit his palm. Shaking with anger. Fear flooded Rosa. Maybe Marcus would take it, but Marcus stood tall. She is my wife, he said, voice like thunder. She belongs to no man's command. I chose her. Finest seamstress in 3 counties. Orders poured in. The music swelled. Marcus led her into a dance. You were always beautiful, he whispered. Now they see what I knew. Her tears came. Tears of joy. That night, Rosa stood tall. No longer the mocked daughter. No longer the broken girl. She was Rosa, the seamstress, the wife, the woman who rose from ashes into her own light. And Marcus stood beside her, not rescuer, partner. Together, they built not just a life, but a love strong enough to silence every cruel word. Thank you for listening to Rosa and Marcus' story out here on the Wild West Frontier. How did it make you feel? And where are you listening from? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed it, do not forget to subscribe for more stories like